Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Pastor Eric Brown with Daily Manna for your soul. Happy Monday to you. I pray the Lord is blessing you real good right now. Look, just want to bring you a word of encouragement, something to help you along your way. And today, that word is faith is an action word. Oh, can I tell you today, if you want the kind of faith that moves mountains, the kind of faith that makes a difference in your life, the kind of faith that alters outcomes, or I want you to understand that that type of faith takes action. We know we need to get our words right, but we can't be just talking about faith. We have to put faith in action. We have to step out on faith and watch God do just what he says he will do. You know, I'm reminded over there in 2 Kings chapter 4, there's a widow woman. Her husband has recently died. He was out of the school of the prophets. He was a prophet that was under the leadership and guidance of the prophet Elisha. And he died, and the widow woman came to Elisha, and she began to tell him of all her problems, that her husband had died, and his creditors were now coming to her seeking payment, and she didn't have the money to pay them, and she had two sons that they were about to take from her to satisfy that debt. But I'm here to tell you, when she went to Elisha looked at her and said, "What would you have me to do?" But out the very next breath, he asked her this question: "What do you have? What do you have in your house?" And I know that seemed like a very strange question, because you would think the woman would have exhausted everything she had. But he asked her that question because he was looking for a seed to help her fulfill her needs. Somebody needs to get that. I'm here to tell you, the Bible promises that he will give a seed to the sower. Or if you're willing to sow, if you're willing to sow in faith, I'm here to tell you, God will put a seed in your hand. Sometimes it takes somebody else to help you find that seed. But I'm here to tell you, God will not have you wanting. God will have a seed in your life that you can use to get the harvest that you need. And sure enough, that woman looked, and she pondered that thing, and she said, "I have nothing but." But what? I'm here to tell you, she had a but in her life, but what she didn't know, that but was a seed. See, the but in her life was, "I have nothing but a little bit of oil." Or somebody needs to get that, because somebody can look at what they don't have, or what they have little of, and think that's just all they will have. But God looked at your little bit as a seed if you're willing to put it in his hands. I'm here to tell you, if you're willing to step out on faith, take the action and put it in God's hand, your very little can become a whole lot. And so under the unction and gumption of God, under the power of God, the prophet began to say this. He began to say, "Look, I want you to go home. I want you to go gather some containers. I want you to go borrow if you need to, and borrow not a few, but get a lot. Get as many as you can. Then I want you to go home. I want you to get in a room, close the door, and I want you to begin to pour out of your little bit of oil." I'm here to tell you, that sounded crazy to her. I'm sure that sounded like it was going to be a bother. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it was an inconvenience to go around borrowing containers from your neighbors, asking from your neighbors. But if you're getting ready for what God has for you, what convenience is it? Or if you're getting ready for the outpouring of God's Spirit, for the outpouring of God's love, for the outpouring of God's victory, for the outpouring of God's storehouse for your need. What inconvenience truly is it? Or I would be willing to do anything I needed to do if I was sure of the outcome. And I'm here to tell you that when God says, through the man of God, through the woman of God, through the inkling of God, through the inspiration of God, that he is about to do something great in your life, all you need to do is step out on faith. Well, you better go ahead and take that action and step out on faith. I'm here to tell you, that woman did just that. She went in that room, like Yolanda said, alone in a room, her and her sons, and they began to pour out of that oil. And they began to pour. They filled one container, and then they passed on to another container, and another, and another, and another. And she poured out of that little bit of oil and filled up every container that she had. And once the containers all were full, that's when the oil stopped. I want somebody to get that. She took action, absolutely. She got as many as she could. But that didn't stop God from pouring. Only thing that stopped God from pouring was the actions that she took. Somebody need to get that. If you keep on taking actions, God will keep on pouring in your life. But as it was, God poured out enough that she could pay all her creditors, that she could live, that she could save her sons, keep her family together, and she could eat, and she could be blessed, and she could live off that for the rest of her days. Somebody need to get that. God was faithful to his word, but will you be faithful to the action? God's promises are yea and amen, but will you be faithful and take action? Because if you be faithful and take action according to your faith, so it be unto you. When God has spoken, that settles it. I want somebody to get that today. Faith takes action. If you're going to have faith, then you got to have the action. You got to go look. You got to go seek. You got to go do. You got to stand when nobody else is standing. You got to expect when nobody else is expecting. No matter what the negative people say, no matter what the naysayers say, no matter what the situation looks like, you got to know the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. I want somebody to get that today. I want somebody to be encouraged today. I want your faith to be full today, because God is getting ready to work as long as you're ready to take that action. When you take action, you will see the hand of God move on your behalf. The Bible said, prove me herewith and see if I won't open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive. Take the action. Your faith will be rewarded. Look, you have an awesome day. You be blessed of the Lord. Peace.